Well, welcome to the EV3 tutorial. In this first lesson, we're just going to do the very essentials, just what you need in order to get in and write your first program. So let's get started. The EV3 is really a system. It's not just one particular piece. We think of the EV3 sometimes as the computer module. That's it here on the top of this model. But there's really a lot more to it than that. There's also motors. There's two motors on this model. One's over here and one's on the other side. And these are obviously what makes the robot move, but you can use them for a lot of different things. This particular model also has a couple of sensors. It has a sensor here for measuring light, and has a sensor here that's a touch sensor. You can tell if it runs into something. Let's look at the motor in a little bit more detail. The motor is actually back in here, and it turns very quickly, and that speed would be way too fast for our robot. It wouldn't have any power, and it would make the robot run way too fast if it did. So instead, it's geared down through a set of gears that are off in here, and the part that actually turns is this red part. You can put an axle through the middle, you can pin things to the side. There's a lot of different flexible options there. The back part of the motor is where you plug in a wire that plugs into the EV3 itself. And that kind of looks like a telephone cord, but it's special just for Lego. There's also a smaller cousin to the large motor, coincidentally called the medium motor, and it again takes a plug in the back, and just as a little red part in the front here turns, so you can put an axle in there and turn other things. There's a whole array of sensors that you can get for the EV3. Some of these may have come in your kit, and some of them you might have to buy separately. Everybody gets touch sensors, though. These are very simple switches that portion is pushed, then the EV3 can sense that and know to do something. There's color and light sensors. They can sense color, so there's an array of different colors that they can sense, red, green, blue, and so on. Or they can sense just light intensity, how bright the light is that it sees. There's a distance sensor. This is ultrasonic, so it works kind of like a bat. It puts out a high frequency chirp out through one of these sides. It goes out, bounces off of something, goes back, and is received by the microphone on the other side. And by measuring how long it took for that sound to come out, hit something, and come back, the EV3 can tell how far away something is. The gyro is a new sensor for Lego, and it can sense tilt. So you see these arrows here. As the sensor is rotated, the EV3 can sense that and make decisions about it. You might see this on Lego models where the model will balance on two wheels. Not in the educational set, but certainly in the retail set, is the infrared sensor. This sensor can measure what angle the beacon is at. You can also send commands from the beacon to the infrared sensor to be able to tell your robot go forward, backwards, turn, and whatever, without having to write programs for it. Let's look at the EV3 computer module in a little bit more detail. Has a series of buttons down here on the bottom. Those are navigation buttons, up, down, left, right. The middle is a select key, so that's how you say OK or enter, like you would on a computer. This button over here is the back key, kind of like the back key on a browser. It will back you up one level. It'll also cancel certain operations. That's also how you would shut it off. On the side of the EV3 are a couple of expansion possibilities. One is a USB plug. This isn't where you would plug in your computer to program the EV3, but it does allow one EV3 to be a master and then have a bunch of zombie EV3s that it's controlling in order to get more motor and sensor ports. So if you ever want to build a really huge model that needs more than the number of motors and sensors that you can plug into an EV3, then that's how you can do it. The top portion of the EV3, that's this portion up here, is where you plug in your motors. So you have 4 motor ports here. That's an expansion over the NXT that only had 3. It also has the plug. It's a small USB plug that you can then plug into your computer. That's how you would program your computer most of the time, especially in a school environment. You can also do it over Bluetooth and such. In a school environment, that tends to be more trouble than it's worth. The bottom part of the EV3 computer module is where your sensors plug in. So we talked about the sensors in the previous slide, so light sensors, touch sensors, and so on would all plug into the bottom here.